You consider a Python statement s is equal to 10. Now here s is pointing to 10 and the type of data that the variable s points to is an integer. So if you want to know the type of data that a variable points to, you know the method, you know the function. There is a built-in function by the name type, and within bracket you can write the variable name. So this will display the type of data. See, it is integer int. Now if I write 10.0, now the type of data that variable s points to is a decimal number. Decimal number is a layman's language. Technically it is float. Float means decimal number. Similarly, if I write s is equal to true, true and false, they are boolean type. Okay, so you can see the type of data is bool. Now if I write s is equal to hello, you can see the type of data is string, str. Okay, and finally complex numbers. Suppose if I write s is equal to 3 plus 4j, a number of the type a plus b j, where a and b are real numbers, decimal numbers, and j equal to square root of -1 is what is known as a complex number. No need to know what is a complex number. Anyway, there is a type of number by the name complex number. So now if I run the program, you can see the type of data that s points to is a complex number. Okay, so these are some of the important data types or type of data. Now you are provided with a list. Say L is equal to 1.2, it's a floating point number. 9, it's an integer. This is a string, again integer, boolean. This is a floating point number, it's a complex number, and so on. What we need to do is we need to create separate list, one for integer, one for float, one for bool, one for complex number, one for string, and the respective element should be added to those lists. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so how do you get each and every element of L? You know the method. If I write for I in L, you get each and every element of L. Okay, so the first element is a decimal number, the second element is an integer, the third element is a string, and so on. Now in order to check the type of data that is there in variable I, there is a method, there is a built-in function by the name isinstance. Okay, so I am going to use that. If I dot is instance, okay, equal to, first let me check for float, because here it is float. No, you can have any order. Equal to float, then it should be added to another list. Okay, so let me use the variable name f dot append within bracket I. So all the floating point numbers are appended to f. Remember, initially f should point to empty list. So initially f is pointing to empty list. As and when the floating point numbers are encountered, it is appended. Appended means insert at the end of this list. Let me check this much part of the program. Let me display f. The indentation is very important. Only after calculating the answer should be displayed. So it should be indented along with the for loop. You see the indentation. Now save the program, run the program. Okay, float object has no attribute is instance. Okay, so I think that should be inside. Okay, so the way to make use of is instance is like this. Okay, this is not the way to use is instance. So syntax error is there. Okay, so here you can write is instance followed by I comma float. So please understand the syntax of using isinstance. If it is isDigit, we make use of I dot isDigit, isn't it? But here it should be isinstance I comma the type of data that you want to check. Now run the program. You can see F contains all the decimal numbers in the list. Okay, now you can copy paste, check for the remaining ones. Okay, so here you can write L if, just copy paste this one, right click, copy, don't forget colon. Now the next one, let me check for integers. Okay, and if it is an integer, right click, copy, let me append that to another list, capital I. So certainly initially your capital I should point to empty list. Only F is displayed, I did not display I. So let me display I also. Okay, here I need to display I. Now you can see all the decimal numbers in one list, all I in another list. See here true and false is coming because internally boolean is taken as integer. True means 1 and false means 0. So that's the reason why when you check for integers, internally true and false is taken as integers. So true is represented as 1, false is represented as 0. So what you need to do is, to overcome this problem, what you can do is, first you check for bool. Okay, and if it is bool, you append that to a list by the name B. And here you can display B. Okay, so now you run the program. So the first one contains all the decimal numbers, the second one contains all the boolean. Okay, bool. Now you check for integer. So the order is important. You can copy paste this one, right click, copy. Okay, so isinstance I comma int. So only if it is not a bool, the control will come here. Okay, so here you can make use of another one. Here you can write initially I is equal to empty list, and certainly the answer should be displayed. Now if you run the program, you can see all the decimal numbers in one list, all the boolean in another list, all the integers in another list. Okay, so here the order is important. Kindly make a note of this one. First you have to check for bool, only after that you should check for integer. In the given example, first integer is given, but still when you write the code, first you have to check for bool. Okay, now let me check for string. Their order is not important. First if you want, you can check for string, no problem. So isinstance, what is the keyword? str. You have seen that, isn't it? And here for string variable, let me use another variable name s. Certainly s must point to an empty list, and here you can display the answer print s. Okay, now when you run the program, you can see the answers correct. All the decimal numbers, all the boolean, all integers, and all string. There's only one string. If you see the example, you can see only one string is included. The last one, complex. Okay, so just copy paste this one. Complex also, order is not important. You can, if you want, first you can check for complex number, no problem. So here it is complex. Maybe you can use another variable name C. Don't forget C for complex, isn't it? So C is equal to, initially it is an empty list, and finally C must be displayed in the computer's monitor. So you can see all the answers. Okay, so C contains only one complex number because in the example only one complex number is done. So if you want to check for the type of data that is present in a list or in a sequence, okay, you can make use of the built-in function isinstance. Remember the syntax of the function. The function name is instance, first variable name followed by type of data, and the type of data need not be in single quotes. It should not be in single quotes. Please make a note of that. Okay, and also remember, it should not be used as I dot is instance. It's a mistake. Okay, usually we write I dot is digit, I dot is alphanumeric, but here it must be is instance I comma the type of data. Okay, so this program explains how to find the type of data that is there in a sequence.